So we now continue the discussion of Arduino. So with this now, it is possible for us to write any program which we want that Arduino board should execute in the memory of the microcontroller chip of the Arduino using computer. So there is an integrated development environment which we will go through later, or in the tutorials you must have seen, in few practicals also you have seen. Now we go for a detailed look of what are Arduino pins. So we need not be very specific to a particular Arduino. In general, we can go for the available pins on an Arduino board. So I will describe them, and I am very much sure that after a few sessions you will become very much expert in working with an Arduino based system. So the Arduino board consists of a microcontroller chip and various pins are available for the actual application, for the user interface. So the Arduino board consists of a computer interface and user interface. So user interface is directly via pins, and computer interface is that with which user can connect with Arduino using computer. So user connects Arduino through computer to download the program, also to monitor some information, and the main purpose, remember, main purpose of Arduino board is in industrial, or not industrial, say home automation. Say, for example, you might be aware that some kind of automatic, if you are having a system in agriculture pump. So suppose if water is full, water is not there, or why to go for agriculture? Just go for a underground tank, overhead tank. So if there is no water in underground tank, or if there is overflow in the overhead tank, the pump should be off, and in other situations the pump should be on. Then in that case there will be some hysteresis, automatic on off. So you should prevent that. There are two levels in underground tank. If underground tank level is less than lower level, the pump should be off. If underground tank water is more than upper level, pump can be on. If overhead tank level is something. So there can be two levels in underground tank, there can be two levels in overhead tank, and you can have the logic. So for controlling pump, there is one relay. Input to the relay can be from Arduino board. When that is 1, the relay will be on. When that is 0, relay will be off. And from 4 sensors, there will be 4 inputs. So based on 4 inputs, A, B, C and D, you can control Y, and you can write whatever you want to. So through these pins, actual real life entities are being controlled. So what are different possible pins which we require in practice? Number 1 is, these are Arduino board pins. One is digital input or output pin. Digital output pin. What we know by input pin and output pin? Digital output pin means controller will make it on or off. It will be microcontroller which will make it on and off. Is digital output pin. Digital input pin means the user will control it and microprocessor will read it. Right? So in a lecture, when teacher is teaching, teacher talks, students listen. And when teacher asks the question, students talk and teacher listens. So microcontroller output pins, microcontroller sets it logic 1 or logic 0, user uses it to drive some relay, to drive some lamp, drive some LED. Is it clear? Microcontroller input pin means it is user who sets it 1 or 0 by connecting it to VCC or ground, either manually or through some automated system, and microcontroller reads it. Microcontroller reads it. So there, in fact, there is an I/O. To that I will come later. Right now I am very simple. So it consists of a digital input pin, digital output pin. So these are two pins available in microcontroller. So output pin and input pin. So this is something, obviously I have used the word digital. Then why I have used the word digital? Because it can be only logic 1 and logic 0. Pin can be logic 1 or logic 0. The intermediate levels do not convey a meaningful information. Then next now means this was something in earlier microcontrollers few decades back. Later on, suppose that you want to sense some continuous variable. Say intensity, you want an automatic lighting control. So you want to sense light intensity in the room. So for that purpose you will be having some LDR and you will be converting proportional voltage. Now that can't be read using a digital pin. If you connect that to a digital pin, then it can read whether it is below threshold or above threshold. But continuous reading is not possible. So for that purpose you need an analog to digital converter. Even though analog to digital converter is not separately there in your syllabus, but you must know it. And analog, how it works right now we will not spend time. Analog to digital converter, that is in short known as ADC, analog to digital converter, or ADC. So that ADC, what you are having is having a structure that it is having one input pin, a common ground, and let us say 8, not necessarily, it can be other, more or less also 8 output pins, I7 to I0, sorry, O7 to O0 output pins, and this is input pin I, this is ground. So I am explaining very preliminary information. It is not a complete and perfect information. Don't quote it elsewhere unless you know the context. So input in the range of 0 to 5 volts, input in the range of 0 to 5 volts is converted into, input in the range of 0 to 5 volts is converted into a digital output from 00 to FF. Input in the range of 0 to 5 volts is converted into output digit. So analog input. So if input is say 2.1 volt, there will be some digital output. If input is 0.3 volts, there will be some digital output. So it is with the ratio of 5:255. So 5 upon 255 corresponds to 1 unit. So a digital FF corresponds to 5 volts, 0 corresponds to 0 volts. So its half, 2.5 volts would be corresponding to number approximately 80 hex. Is it clear? So analog input in the range of 0 to 5 volts, analog input in the range of 0 to 5 volts is converted into a 8-bit digital output starting from 00 to FF. This is ADC. So ADC was needed separately, and then that ADC outputs should be given to microcontroller input so that microcontroller can read using 8 bits the digital equivalent of analog voltage. That was the story few decades back. But now what has happened, that ADC has come inside microcontroller. So that in the microcontroller on Arduino board, and ADC has also come, so directly an analog input pin has also been provided. There can be one, there can be many. So we are talking of types of Arduino board pins or types of microcontroller pins on an Arduino board. Such multiple pins are there. So this is output, obviously digital output. This is input, which is obviously digital input. Now there is a new pin called as analog input. So I can read the digital equivalent of this analog input pin because an analog to digital converter is available inside the microcontroller. So digital input, digital output, analog input. Now obviously you would be asking a next question. That is obvious. Those who want to answer can pause the video, try for the answer, then listen the answer. So the obvious question would be, is there any analog output pin from Arduino? Is there any analog output pin from Arduino? The answer is yes as well as no. In this sense that analog output pin is not available from Arduino, but Arduino delivers analog output in a different form. So that is one very important feature, that is called as pulse width modulated digital output. So it is possible that there is a pin called as PWM output. Means it is digital output which can be converted into analog output outside by a simple arrangement called as filter, or in some cases it gets automatically converted. So what is pulse width modulation? What is pulse width modulation? Now this needs some explanation. I will take two applications. One is your LED, or why to take LED? It can be any lamp. It can be any lamp. This is your, let us take simple example, 5-volt power supply and a lamp. Now, when you put the switch on, lamp will glow. When you put the switch off, lamp will not glow. When you put the switch on, lamp will glow. When the switch is off, lamp will not glow. What then, using this, can you control intensity of the lamp? Then you will say, no, this is not the way of controlling intensity. To control intensity, I have to either change this voltage or put a resistance in between, so that the intensity is proportional to dissipated power. Dissipated power is proportional to intensity of lamp is proportional to dissipated power. Dissipated power is proportional to the R of the lamp is fixed, either V square by R or I square R, where V or I is the voltage across the lamp or current through the lamp. So by this way you can't do that. But this is a very intelligent and sincere student will answer. A smart and mischievous student will start something differently. What he will think? Suppose if a sincere student doesn't want to play with the devices, but a mischievous student wants to. Suppose if I put on off at a faster rate, what will happen? The intensity of lamp depends on, there is a filament in the lamp. There is filament in the lamp. The filament in the lamp gets heated up. Filament in the lamp gets heated up, and then it converts it into light intensity. Heating is a process which is having inertia. Means when you make it on, it starts heating. It doesn't get heated up immediately. Then you can put off, you can put on, you can put off. So this process is having its own inertia. Therefore, what effectively will be the temperature, average temperature of the lamp, which will result into, see, when you put on, and suppose if you put on for 1 second, off for 1 second, then for 1 second you will see the lamp glowing, for next 1 second lamp will not be glowing. But if you do it at rapid rate, the rate at which this on-off is being done is fast enough than the inertia of heating system of the filament, then the changes of on and off will not be noticed but will be averaged out. Listen very carefully. We do not have any resistance or a variable voltage supply. Using a fixed voltage supply and a switch, we want to control intensity of the lamp. If the switch is on, lamp will glow with full intensity. If the switch is off, lamp will glow with zero intensity. That is provided that this on and off is continuing for a reasonable amount of time. If this on-off takes place at a rapid rate, in that case what will happen is the changes of on and off will not be noticed by you, because what ultimately will be, the filament will be heated at an average rate of on-off. So keep 1 millisecond on and 1 millisecond off, lamp will glow with middle half, not exactly half, it depends on square, with some moderate intensity. If you keep 1 millisecond on and 4 millisecond off, lamp will glow with very low intensity. If you keep 4 millisecond on and 1 millisecond off, lamp will glow with less intensity. So this is called as the PWM output, pulse width modulated output, generates a square wave where its period can be programmed, duty cycle can be from 0% to 100%. Means, suppose if 10 milliseconds is cycle time, that is programmable. If 10 milliseconds is cycle time, then what we can have is between 10 milliseconds completely off, completely on, or any portion between 0 to 10 on. So a PWM output provides me a square wave. This is can be approximately 20% duty cycle. If I go for this much, this would be of 10% duty cycle. This would be of say 80% duty cycle. So PWM, remember very carefully, for a microcontroller, PWM output is a digital output. But only thing is that there is a separate arrangement with which automatically it becomes 1 and 0 once programmed. So when separate PWM output is not available, still also you can generate PWM output through a program. But a dedicated PWM output means you have to write once the value, that is the percentage of duty cycle. Without white means when you do that, suppose if it actually alarm, that is for interrupt, we will discuss later on. Once you write that, the microcontroller in Arduino will execute a different program, and the output on that PWM output will be continuously giving that on on its own separately. So when we program duty cycle of the digital output, then by some kind of arrangement with the help of a filter, you may be aware that this RC filter, if you do that, then here PWM output, and this would be analog output. Automatically, based on if it is 10, if supply is plus 5 volt ground, between on is 5 volts, off is 0. So if it is 10% duty cycle, you will be getting automatically 0.5 volts. If it is 30% duty cycle, you will be getting 1.5 volts. So just by putting an RC filter, values right now we are not going into those details, you can get an analog output. Or if there is something like a lamp or a DC motor, lamp or DC, and if the PWM is at a rapid rate, then lamp and DC motor automatically filter out the things so that the DC motor will run at a suitable average speed, the lamp will glow with a suitable average intensity. So PWM output pin is an output pin which is digital output pin, but by controlling its duty cycle, it is possible to obtain an analog output by putting a separate filter or in a system which itself is having an inertia, say heater. If you connect PWM output to a heater, automatically that average heat would be available. So these are the things. So digital input, digital output, analog input, PWM output, and one more is an interrupt pin. So when we discussed the concept of microprocessor in the earlier to mid sem, we did not specify the concept of interrupt. The concept of interrupt is extremely important, and that you can read something based on this interrupt on Google if you wish, but in the next lecture we will discuss on interrupts for some time and then we will proceed further.